Hey, welcome back, my friend. My name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast. If you've been watching the news, you have seen the everywhere of the CEO and the head of HR of Astronomer were caught at a Coldplay concert cheating. And, being a guy that wants to help husbands, fathers, and leaders, I have decided to help you figure out how to cheat without getting caught. So stick to the end. I've got a lot of good information, so please stick to the end of this one. But step number one, if you're going to be cheating on your spouse, you have to find someone to cheat with. So before you have to worry about, getting caught, you have to find somebody. And I will say I'm not an expert in cheating on my spouse, but I do have a lot of friends, and I work in a predominantly male-dominated field. And I've seen a lot of things work and not work, so I want to make sure I help you out. So step one is you have to find somebody. Now, one of the mistakes I've seen is guys trying to find their mistress on dating apps. And the danger here is if you put yourself out on a dating app, someone's going to see you and someone's going to tell your wife, and you obviously don't want that. So I would suggest, based on my research, is that you find somebody inside of your organization or inside of an organization that you have a reason to go to all the time. And for most guys, they're most successful when they do this from work. So we're going to assume that you're going to find your mistress at work. Now, when you make this decision, realize this is a long road. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's not instantaneous. So step one is find one or two possible targets. Now, if you have a position of authority over them, that can help, right? Because there's that little power inequality. And we're going to assume you're going to be doing this at work. So step one is I want you to start complaining about everything that your wife does. Even if it's small, I want you to complain about it. Now, what you're looking for is someone that instead of sticking up for your wife, maybe another female, seeing her side, just agreeing with you on almost everything. Now, it'd be very helpful if they were also complaining about their spouse and you could agree on everything they were saying. And, it doesn't have to be anything overt. It could be a small little, it really annoys me when I come home, she's always nagging. Just little bits of information that let them know that you're not happy. And what you're looking for back is that they agree with you. Yeah, that's terrible. Women, they shouldn't be doing that. I've never do that, or I wouldn't do that. That's what you're looking for, those little bits of information to just to say, I agree with you and your wife is terrible. That's what you're looking for. And as you build that up, I want you to start building a relationship where it's totally appropriate, where you spend quality time alone. So this could be special meetings, maybe projects that you assign to them that they have to report to you directly. And you want to create time where they can be in your presence and nobody else. That's important here. So you're creating this time, work trips, meetings, these things are important. The next thing you want to do, and this is going to be challenging, and this is not a sexual thing, but you want to create contact. You want to have at some point where you make physical contact with them. And this is not, you're not dating, you're not hugging, you're not kissing. This is a hand on the shoulder, a hand on the arm, just little things like that. And then as you progress, so you're complaining, you're making some physical contact, you want to start complimenting them. Man, they look good. Man, you smell good. Just little things like that. Man, I wish my wife would do things like you. All really important things because you're trying to bridge this gap from I'm a married man and I'm committed to that commitment doesn't really mean a lot and I'm looking for something else. So it's important that you don't rush it. You take your time because obviously you want to cheat on your wife. And then at some point you're going to get an indication that, yeah, this is working and I am going to cheat on my wife and I've made that decision and you've gotten something back. And that's when, the work trick comes in. And this is the problem that the CEO had. He went to a public event. And so this needs to be something private. I'm sure he was communicating with his mistress. And this is another place where men start to mess up is you probably need to get either a second phone or use some other app that your wife is not going to be looking on your phone. And which brings me to technology, you probably need to start making excuses like, man, for some reason my tracking doesn't work. And you really, really need to just with complete secrecy, hold what your password to your phone is. Because if she gets hold of your phone, she's going to find out. So, you need to be very defensive about her picking up your phone. You need to be, turn off all the notifications, very defensive, because if she gets a hold of your phone, you're going to get caught. Really important. If she gets hold of your location, you're probably going to get caught. So yeah, you got to start. This is where it's challenging. I admit, you got to start lying. My location doesn't work on my phone. The GPS must be messed up. Things that would make sense why she can't track you on your phone. Challenging things, I know, guys, but listen, if you're going to cheat on your wife, these are things you have to be willing to do. So you've taken care of the technology, you've taken care of, finding out the right person, and then, you're going to make your move. And now initially, you're probably only going to be emotionally cheating. You're probably not going to move to the actual physical act of, intimacy with this person. So it starts with emotional, but at some point you're moving towards that. And, the CEO made this major mistake of going to this Coldplay concert. And if you haven't seen the video, I will describe it. Or maybe if you're listening to this 2 years later, he was at a Coldplay concert and they're going to do like the kiss cam and they're shining it to different people in this audience. And I'm assuming there was like 20, 30,000 people there, and they shine it to the CEO and she's in front of him, his girlfriend, mistress in front of him. He's got his hands around him. And as soon as the camera comes up, it shows up on the big screen. They both duck out of the way. And the guy from Coldplay, he says, well, you're either really embarrassed or you are cheating. And they were, and they did lose their job. So, you just got to be careful, guys, if you're going to get out there and cheat. So the number one way of not getting caught cheating, and this is really what I want to get at, is don't cheat on your wife, guys. I hope you didn't think that I was serious, this is the advice I wanted to give you. But I wanted to kind of come at it from a different way. That's how you don't get caught cheating on your wife, is don't actually cheat on your wife. And if you need some evidence of this, besides just the moral fact, I want you, there's someone stopped the picture of a video. They took a screenshot, and the look on both of their faces, you could see that moment it was the consequences had finally dropped. The fear on their face before they ducked their face out of the way was just immense. And it was interesting because, there's lots of people, unfortunately, making fun of them on social media. One of them was, what are all the other things you could do when the camera got on your face? One was, pretend like you're choking them, like you're play fighting. One was, I'm choking. So, given the Heimlich. All these things that they could have done other than what they did. But what they did is they got caught in shame and they got caught in their consequences. And the look on this guy's face, the look on this girl's face, when they realized what they had just lost, should be enough to tell everybody that this is not what you want. And I'm telling you guys, if you're going down this path, this is not what you want. Now, if you don't want to cheat on your wife, just do the opposite of the things that I've told you. I know not everybody here is a Christian, but there's a biblical concept that we would call them guardrails. Like there's a scripture in the Bible where God tells Moses, don't let anybody come a step foot on the mountain. And Moses tells the people, don't come near the mountain, which was different, right? He said, don't come near it because I don't exactly know where the mountain starts, right? So he put up a guardrail. Don't even come anywhere close to it because I don't want you to actually get on the mountain. And we will do this for our kids, right? You can come to here and here, and everything in between is okay. You don't put the guardrail right on the edge where if they make any mistakes, they're right off the edge. You move it in a little bit. So guys, if you are struggling in your marriage, this is even more important. Like if you've got a great marriage, there's some of the things maybe you don't need to do because you're not tempted at all. Although I would say, I think I know guys who they cheated because it was convenient and they hadn't put things in place to prevent them getting to that point where, sex outside of marriage was convenient or even emotional, cheating was convenient. So to go backwards of what, be very open with your phone. If my wife has my access to my phone, she can open it up. She can make text messages. She can look at my search history. And maybe this goes to like pornography. if that's something you're struggling with and you feel defensive when your wife picks up your phone, like she might go look at your search history or look at what apps you have downloaded, you have failed to set up a guardrail. Set up that guardrail where you let your wife know, hey, any moment, just go look at my phone. That's going to give her so much security. If you have, and I'm not saying you not to have relationships with women of women at work, that is totally okay, but set up some guardrails. If you know you're going on a work trip with maybe just one other person, let your wife know who they are. Let them know what you're going to be doing. Let them know that you're going to be as appropriate as possible. And you don't have to be weird about it. You don't have to be like, you're on a work trip and you have one female partner. Hey, we can't go out to eat. Just let your wife know. Hey, me and so-and-so, we're going out to eat tonight, and we're doing this. Set up some guardrails. I think it's just really important. Don't complain about your wife to your coworkers, of the opposite sex. Now, I work with a bunch of guys. We probably complain a little more than we should, but I don't have an ulterior motive of doing that. And especially if there's someone who's really attractive, like I don't want to say it's common sense, but realize how that comes across. If you want to complain, if you just, need to get something off your chest, and I think there's room there, complain to your guy friends. They can understand it. When you start complaining about your wife and the things that she does, and you're working with women that you find attractive, realize that there is a chance that they're going to pick that up as, hey, I'm letting you know that I am available, because it's maybe for them, they don't know they're just letting off steam. If there's women around you that are in a vulnerable state because they're in a poor relationship, because maybe they just got out of a bad relationship. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're a good guy. You're trying your best. You're trying to do the right things. They're going to really latch onto that. Put those guardrails in place. If you're going to have a meeting, have 3 people in a meeting. It's funny. I've been involved in some youth ministry, and we'll go on trips, to Cedar Point or, wherever we're going to go. And we have a rule of 3 people. Don't be by yourself with somebody else. If we can't all be together, there should always be 3. 3 makes things awkward. And when it comes to preventing an affair, make things awkward. Have someone with you. Include somebody in a group chat. Now, like, there's times where I'll text one of Andrea's friends and I'll just put Andrea in the text, even if she has nothing to do with the information I'm sharing. I'm just letting her know, hey, I'm texting a female colleague of ours, and I'm putting you in here so that it's just right. Now, that's probably not appropriate at work, so bring in a third person from work. The point of all this is that the look on that guy's face, the look on that girl's face, says everything you need to know about having an affair. And I promise you, it is not worth it. And I'm not going to give you advice on divorce. I don't want to tell you should or shouldn't. I think that's a very personal decision. If you're a Christian, I think you should talk to your pastor about that. I've got some personal beliefs, and I'm not going to share that with you. But if you get to the point where divorce is the thing that's going to happen, I just want to encourage you to do it right. You don't need to start dating before you're divorced. Think about it from, just from your kid's standpoint, that you've made a commitment to their mom, and there's no way, even how bad this relationship is and how much it's falling apart, that you can't wait the 6 months to a year to start dating. Just do it the right way. Because in my opinion, if you are not legally divorced, you are still cheating on your wife. And I get it, guys. She might be a terrible person. She might be emotionally abusive, but just do it the right way. Like on the day you sign a divorce paper, do you want to have your Tinder profile set up? Go for it. But do it the right way. Don't cheat on your wife until the moment she's not your wife. Now, I would hope in general that you're going to work on it. You're going to go to counseling. You're going to do everything possible to save this relationship, especially if you have kids. But I understand there's situations where that becomes the appropriate action. But don't cheat on your wife. It is not worth it. And think about from the second relationship. How on earth, and I still don't understand, I don't know how this is possible. And it is, because I know guys that have cheated on their wife and they're still with their mistress and life has gone on and they're doing well. But how do you trust that person? How do you trust somebody that would cheat on that would have a relationship with a married man, which is you? How do you not know they're going to do it again? To me, to build a relationship, one that maybe you're wanting to get a divorce because you really like this girl and you want to make her the next Mrs. How do you trust that girl? She was willing to have a relationship with a married man. And I have to admit, I don't know how you don't know she's not going to do that to you. So do it the right way. Don't cheat on your wife. That's the number one way of not getting caught cheating on your wife, is don't actually do it. Guys, I don't want this to come off as judgy. I just want to I wanted to give you a few things to avoid it. And I want you to go find that video and find that look on that guy's face and that girl's face when they realize the consequences. This dude lost his job. I don't know if they're going to get divorced. I imagine they will. The wife of the CEO, she changed her name on all her social media, like embarrassment. They have kids. Think about looking at your kids and saying, I cheated on your mom, the person that you love and they will always love. Think about having that conversation. Is the social intimacy worth it? Is the sexual intimacy worth it to look at your kids and say, I cheated on your mom, or to have them find out, maybe try to lie about it or try to keep that secret for years and years. And they finally found out, hey, why did you and mom get divorced when they were grownups? And your mom's, their mom, your ex-wife is going to say, well, he cheated on me. Think about what that does to them and stop it. Guys, if you are going down that road and maybe you're not to the point where like you can say that, yeah, I'm cheating on my wife, stop it right now. Put the guardrails up. Go get marriage counseling. Go talk to your pastor. Call me. My email is danny@dannydumas.com. I'm not a marriage therapist, but I will talk to you. I will help you. I will try to help you. It's really important. It's a little bit more weighty. I don't want you to think I'm judging you. I have all the hopes in the world that you can make this right if you're currently doing this. If you're going down the road, put those guardrails up. I hope you have enjoyed this podcast. Next week is my 2-year anniversary. I'm really excited about that. So tune in for that. I've got a kind of a state of the podcast where I'm going to be interviewed. So go check on that next week. Give me a review wherever you heard this, and I will talk to you later. Bye.